one. There it is. All right. Welcome, everybody. We're off to a great start. Brand new week, brand new day, brand new awesome guests. We're going to have a lot of fun with people that have literally helped change my life. So tune in, see how they can help you soon.
Practicing Polyamory, real-life perspectives from the imperfect people of polyamory. The mission of the Practicing Polyamory podcast is to provide a platform for all of the real-life, flawed humans that practice polyamory so that we might all learn from one another and grow as a community. Enjoy the show.
All right, everybody. Welcome to this beautiful Monday. Before we jump in and chat with today's awesome guests, I want to quickly remind everybody that we're doing 3 shows every single week, which means a lot of opportunity for you to ask questions. If you have any questions about your relationships, if there's a topic you'd like to hear discussed on the show, slide into my DMs or comment while we're live. Follow the show on all social media platforms at Practicing Polya. Let me know what you all want to talk about. And as always, a reminder, if you're listening to the podcast, you are a welcome guest to be on the show. We are here to share our imperfect stories. I want to get as many voices as possible to speak here because I know that the more stories we hear, the more others will see us in themselves. And the more representation we have, the more we can strengthen our community. So go over to practicingpolyamory.com and sign up today. All right, everybody, that's my spiel. And now, for the best part of our show, introducing our awesome guests. Today's guest is a dynamic duo with sass, class, and astronomically high charisma and smarts. They are a coach and counselor team who are on a mission to help people gain confidence in themselves, find clarity on the things they need and want, and reframe their mindsets to attain the life they design. They are active in helping people in the LGBT and poly communities where they work towards addressing, normalizing, and destigmatizing all manner of sexual topics. That's whether right. You are in need of individual or multi-partner coaching, or if it's therapy you need, our guests can help you navigate your personal relationships, romantic relationships, and the ever-important but oft-forgotten relationship with yourself. Tune in to learn how our guests can help lift you from a place of feeling unfulfilled and struggling to having relationships that are secure, open, and communicative and leave you feeling empowered like never before. Today, I'm not just your host, but also a proud mentee of this incredible team who are changing the world one vision-seeking soul at a time. Joining us today from TNA, Sex, Play, Relationships, and Fun, out of Toronto, Ontario. Welcome to the show, Lynne Franco and Andre Turcotte. Oh man, good job, producer. You saved my butt. Thank you, Tara and Andre, for joining me today.
And thank you so much for having us. Hello.
Oh man, I'm super excited to talk to the two of you today. As I mentioned in the written intro, you helped me out a ton just a few short months ago. So before we get into all of that story and everything that we've talked about and gone through and all that you guys are doing, all these wonderful things, tell me a little bit about you. Andre, I'm actually going to start off with you.
Sure,
because I feel like Tara and I have talked so much and I've never actually had an opportunity to chat with you. So Andre, tell me about yourself.
Wow, that is like such a big question. It's interesting because I'm usually the one asking the questions, or so I'm told. Where to start? Well, as you mentioned in the intro, what a great big build-up of an intro. I don't know if anybody could ever live up to that. But I am a sex-positive therapist, and as such, as you say, I'm working at different aspects of our sexuality, our sexual identities, our sexual communities, trying to help normalize and destigmatize all things sexual. We come to a better understanding by having dialogue, and it is my calling, my life's work. It is what I love to do, and I'm fortunate in doing it because it brings me in contact with so many beautiful people. And who doesn't want to talk about sex, right? So
let's talk about sex, baby. Oh yeah,
I think he's wonderful.
Agreed. Quick hello to Robbie out there. Thank you so much for tuning in. And Tara, tell us about yourself. What has brought you to this path of your life?
Oh, awesome. Well, I really don't know what to say after that awesome intro as well, but I am a relationship and awesomeness coach. I decided to start doing awesome. Every time I say awesomeness, he says awesome. Right
You
after.
are. You're very awesome. I will attest to that as well.
I agree.
It's a totally made up title because while I help people with relationships, like you said at the beginning, I love to help people with their mindset and help them get past some of their limiting beliefs. And so I came to this myself because I worked with a coach and had an amazing transformation and decided that I could actually have the things that I wanted in my life, which is amazing. So I'm actually like living the dream, which is amazing. And I want to share that love with other people.
Hell yes. Hell yes. I mean, it's one of those things that when you experience that for yourself, when you go through that for yourself, it's something that you want to share with people. And I was lucky enough to be one of those people that you shared it with. So let's see. Let's start by asking questions. Right. This was a big thing. This was a big topic. And I'm gonna start with asking you a question.
Oh, no.
Do you know why you became my coach? Just out of curiosity. We never actually had that conversation.
That is such a great coach.
I'm gonna ask you. You are a great coach, but I'm gonna ask you, like, why do you think that I chose you?
I don't know. Well, I'd like to believe that it was because when we had our initial conversation on the phone, so as you know, I like to do a bit of an intro call with people, get a sense of what it is they're wanting to change in their life. And I think I might have asked some tough questions on the first one. I don't remember what it was. I probably challenged some things that you were talking about. I believe you might have been talking about your vivid vision, and you were struggling a bit with that. I don't know.
It's funny. It's funny.
Close?
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely that intro meeting that we had was powerful. You definitely asked me some really good questions that made me think a lot. But the thing that you did, I emailed over 700 people in from polyfriendly.org, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I've talked to so many different people on this show. I've talked to coaches. I've talked to therapists, but you did something differently that nobody else did.
Oh, I probably asked you about you.
You did. You did. You asked me if I needed coaching, if I needed, and the rest of them just haven't even asked. And so I mean, I was just in a moment where I needed it. And then you come in and you start asking all of these incredible questions. So tell me about this methodology, what you've learned, and why it's so important to ask questions.
Well, I mean, do you want me to answer that, or Andre? You have a lot more training in this than me.
Let's hear your question.
The thing about questions is that I think that we all have the answers within us. Like, I think you, from the time I met you, you knew what it is you truly wanted. But the thing is, we don't always have permission. We don't give ourselves the permission to say it, or we don't want to admit it, or by admitting it, it might change things. So by asking different kinds of questions and challenging what might be beliefs or things that we don't think are possible, it kind of opens up the possibilities. So that's where I like to go. And I think my own personal experience with my coach and friend was a conversation in a car where I said to her I didn't have time to do my taxes. And I was like, no, I'm too busy. I had created this entire story that was completely not true. And then I started asking myself the question, what else could be true? You know, am I deciding this about my life? Am I deciding to spend more time at work? And so then once you start asking yourself the questions, then it comes naturally to start asking others the same thing and challenging things in a nice, supportive way.
You can't handle the truth.
Sometimes we can't. It's the truth that is slapping us in the face. It's the truth that we can't deny when we look in the mirror. Andre, over to you. How does, I guess, question storming is a term that I'm thinking of, but asking different questions, how does asking different questions affect your practice and the way that you approach the people that you coach and have clients in therapy?
That's a great question. Well, I think it goes back to what Tara's saying, right? By asking questions, by remaining curious, we get to find things out. So I think Tara was so successful because her question to you, her initial question to you, was asking about you. And you are the one that has all the answers. You are the one. It's your inside job. It's your life, right? So if we go at it by not asking questions, in a sense, what we're saying is, well, we already have the answers. And it's never even looking at to what is going on. But by asking those questions, we are going to gain that information. We're going to find out the next thing. We want to say the next thing. We want to have progressive communication. So by asking those next questions, it's going to tell us what's going on. It's going to inform us. And when we have the information, then we can apply it towards a cure. The cure is the 4-step process, right? Knowing what you want, finding a way of getting it, and being happy having it. So in order to find out what we want, we have to ask questions.
Ask questions.
Yeah. So remain curious. Ask questions. Find out.
I love it. Yeah. The guest that was on my brother's podcast just a little while ago, he was all about the curious mind of the business owner. And so when you start talking about asking questions, I mean, that seems like it's really broad overview. Yeah. The answer is just ask more questions. Let's dive deeper. What kinds of questions do we need to be asking?
Well, that's it. May I? That's a fantastic question. Yes, because we could just ask questions forever, right? Where are we going with this? So basically, we want to know, in the question we ask, is it addressing a defense or a resistance, right? So are we want to know what's at play, right? So by being able to look at what it is we're wanting, the next question then is, how do we get it? So is there some, as Tara would call it, some limiting belief that says that we're not capable of it, or we can't do it, or that type of lifestyle is only for other guys, or it doesn't really exist? We're feeding ourselves that misinformation, or is it perhaps some fear that we might have? But by asking those questions, it'll direct us to where there is a resistance, how we might address it, and then move past that.
Tara, some dad?
What's that? Something to add? Oh, I was just saying, like, one of the things I like to ask people is why, if they say something, I was like, well, why is that important to you? That's a question I often ask. And then digging deeper into that. So someone says, well, I want to be successful in business. I think I probably did this to you. I call it the 7 whys. And so you're like, well, I want to have the successful business. Well, why do you want to have the successful business? And it goes on, right? Until you get to the real answer. It doesn't have to be 7. But if you keep asking, why is it important for you to have that? Why is it important for you to have that? You often get to the core of what it is that really is behind your why, behind things.
That's where I learned it. I have been coaching, quote unquote, somebody that is close to me, works with me, and I did the same thing with her. Just why, and similar effect. Okay, Tara, I want to ask you something, and feel free to breach all manner of client coach privilege or whatever, because I'm an open book, and I want to know, what was it in our time? What was it, 6 weeks or whatever? What is a moment that stands out to you from our experience?
Good question.
Oh yeah. I remember a couple things. I definitely remember when we did the inner villain and inner hero, how you really embraced that, and how you started seeing the inner villain and inner hero. And I think I remember the hero's name was Redeemer. Is that correct?
Got him.
I couldn't remember the villain, which is interesting because I don't want to remember that, because I want to remember the hero James. And I think what was cool, I think I pushed you a lot at the very beginning because you were really stuck on your to-do list and all the things that you had to do. I think the first thing you did was, like, you shared me this list of things, and I'm like, well, why are you doing, like, why is it important for you to do those? What are the things? And as you started thinking about it, I think when you did, I think we were talking about you were talking about your business and how you wanted to grow it, and you were really stuck on that vision, but it felt like it wasn't aligning. And then you came back after doing one of the exercises, I'm trying to remember which one it was, where you were like, oh my God, I just realized that's not what I want to do. And it was like, I was like, oh, I was so happy. When I saw your homework, I was like, yes, oh my God, I can't wait to talk to him about this.
It blew me away the way that my whole mindset shifted when I really started digging into my whys, into like, how badly do I really want all of these different things, or am I doing all of this because somebody else is telling me that I should be, or whatever, anything along those lines. Do the two of you talk about all of these things? Not like specific, again, whatever privacy privileges, apply, but like, Andre, when Tara is talking to someone like me, if she's having, some things, does she come to you and say, "Hey, I want to bounce this idea off of you"? And what does that conversation look like?
Well, I love your questions. They're so well formed. Yes, absolutely. We never discuss names in particulars, but general ideas, absolutely. But these are ideas that relate to life, right? So if it happens to one individual, it's happening to other people as well, for sure. But what happens in doing that is that you get to also hear yourself. So as a practitioner, you're hearing yourself in relation to that patient as you recount it. So by hearing that, there are certain things that you're going to announce, and they are going to be most likely the things that are most important. So you'll hear yourself talk about the case and frame it in a different way, and it'll give yourself insight, which is fantastic. And then also, yes, you have the benefit of hearing another skilled clinician be able to offer their point, in case you might have a blind spot, in case you might not be able to do these. So it's a win-win all around.
Yeah, and I think Andre's downplaying a lot, but he's definitely helped me a lot as I've been taking on more clients and working with different type of people, because he's had like a long experience in therapeutic practice. So it's been amazing for me, because we've got this like kind of combination of skills, I think, that are complementary. Right. And we have slightly different approaches sometimes, but when we blend together, it's quite interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. You're completely right. I think we complement each other beautifully, because I am a therapist, yes, and you're a coach, and I am a sex positive therapist, and you're a relationship coach, and it is meeting in relationships and sex and all that good stuff. So it's a great place to meet, and we do well.
Yeah, so. I love it. Yeah, I mean, I can tell that you two are an awesome team together. When I tune into your lives every Monday, by the way.
11,
if you want, we'll plug that a little bit later. Actually, no, let's do it. Plug it now. Every Monday, how can people find you?
So in our Let's Talk Poly private Facebook group, there's a link actually on our Instagram there, so you can find it in the bio for that. But we do a live every Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time.
That's right.
And we pick a subject related to relationships, polyamory, swinging, communication. We did one on resentments. Today we talked about clubs. And we spend about 30 minutes to an hour talking about a topic that people are interested in.
And people can also ask questions there as well. Absolutely. So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, we love doing it.
It's great. Yeah, it's great. I love tuning into those when I can. And like I said, the two of you, you're back and forth, your banter. It's really cute. You guys have a lot of really good chemistry, and I love it. And so that's why I kind of figured that, Tara, you were kind of bouncing some ideas back and forth. And Andre, I wanted to ask you, what is one of the memorable lessons, like let's say in the past 30 days, in the past 2 months, whatever, that Tara is working with a mentee, and she came to you asking for advice, and you two worked together to solve something fun?
Sure. Okay. I think it would go back to
the couple.
Yeah. Exactly.
The male couple?
Yeah, I want to, how could we describe them?
I worked with a couple, and I was struggling a bit because there was a lot going on. There was a lot of layers to their story.
Right, exactly, yeah. But when we unpacked it, actually it came down to two particular issues, right?
So, yeah. I don't know if that answers like your question.
So what I'm getting from that is that there's just a lot of unpacking that needs to happen. So as we're doing that unpacking, that's when we get back to the questions. What kinds of questions do you ask one another to get deep into those roots and find out what those root issues really are?
I think it's hard to give like a broad sweeping answer like that. And the reason why is because there's so many nuances, right? So I think it's got to be a blend between, theories and philosophies and feelings. There's often, you might look at something and might have logical sense to it, but when you start talking about it, it doesn't feel quite right. So somebody might say something, it sounds okay on paper, but yet it doesn't match. And I think it's, you have to, it sounds rather esoteric, but it has to be kind of looked at on a case-by-case basis. I don't know if there are questions that are going to say, because not all of those would be the same for everyone. I mean, also a lot depends on the issues that they're presenting with, right?
And I think what Andre's taught me is it's a lot about listening. Andre's a great listener, and he taught me to be a better listener. So when I first started, I probably had a bit more of a plan, and he's like, be yourself, be present, be listening to what they're saying, because people will reveal things, and it's in that revealing that you come up with sort of the next thing that you might want to ask. And honestly, the question, we talk about feelings not being facts, but that's often a thing, is like, is that a feeling or is that a fact? That's an often thing, but why is that important? What's the story you're telling in your head when that's going on? And my favorite, what else could be true? What else could be true?
I love that one. You asked me that one so many times.
So many times. What else?
I love it. Okay. In that case, then let's go back a little bit. Then let's go back to the hero that I created, the Redeemer. And this was the hero. I remember I told you that I had I imagined Vision from the Marvel characters.
Yes.
This just pure and worthy, right? Because he can lift the hammer, and that's the protector. That's the one that tells me, hey, it's okay for you to take time for yourself and all of these things. So when we are creating these heroes for ourselves, when we're creating these mascots, maybe, I want you to kind of give me an idea of what was your idea, what was your thinking when you gave me that kind of an assignment? Like, what is the power there in creating this type of a character, this kind of a mascot for myself?
Yeah, because I think if you see, like, I really got you. Usually I get people to really identify and name them, which is helpful. I think you've done the best at naming them. And the reason is because then they're a character, and you could think about, what would that person do in this situation? Like, who am I going to call on? Because sometimes you do need to call on the villain for a certain reason. But in most cases, the villain is working against you. So if you know if you can picture that, it works for different people, right? If you're a visual person and you can picture that person, it's like, what would that person do with this idea that I have in my mind? What would be the next action that they'll do? Like, how would they own this feeling, and what would they do to address that? I think it helps people visualize something different if you see it as a second person.
Right.
It's often used in Gestalt theory, right? So you have that visualization, and you can really see them, and then seeing them, you can imagine what your offering might be responded with, right? So what might they say? And it's a great way of really helping to further that exploration.
Just creating that character and kind of making what do they call it? Personifying it. Personifying it. Cool. All right. Let's jump a little bit here. Let's jump to a little bit of a different topic. The two of you we talked about your TNA on Mondays, and you've also got a couple of programs and challenges that you've got going on. Let's talk a little bit about the challenges first. You did one in July, and you have one coming up in September. Is that right? You want to tell me about those?
Yes.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah, so we did, as part of launching our new program, Multiple Loves Method, we did a free challenge in the group called Jealousy Freedom, I think it was July 12th to the 18th or something. Basically, every day we came live to share information and tactics people could do to address their jealousy. And then we also covered some broader things. And so people spent the week with us, like examining and understanding their jealousy. And at the end, they had like a workbook and that sort of thing that would help them as their sort of like blueprint that they could go back and see like what is triggering my jealousy and what can I do about it.
Right.
Yeah, so that was the one in July, and then we're
very successful.
Yeah,
Andre, what was your biggest takeaway from the one in July?
The biggest takeaway from the one of July was that wow, I'm lost.
I know July was a long time ago. It's okay.
It seems like it already.
It was the first.
The takeaway was that it was the first component of the program that we're launching. So it was a way of putting it out there and making ourselves public. So I do not have a background where I was in front. I'm mostly in the back, right? So being live like that was quite the experience, but it really, I tapped into it. I felt great doing it and look forward to doing the program. So it's a lot of fun.
And I think what was awesome about it too is like we put a lot of work in it. We did this workbook. And so every day we gave people like activities and stuff to do. And we loved seeing people's responses. Like people poured their hearts out, even like in our group and sharing what it is that triggers their jealousy and, you know, how they feel about things. So it was very, it felt like a really close community of people that loved each other. And I think it's why we do what we do. Like we just love connecting people and supporting people and having a place for people to be themselves in their relationships.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, so you have another one coming up in September, right? What's that one about and what do you expect?
So we haven't planned it out again. We could do the jealousy one again because it was super popular, but I think we're going to do a bit more of sort of an overview, kind of like what is our winning formula for open relating success. So giving people, so we have our bigger program, Multiple Loves Method, which is a 6-stage journey. So we're going to take a small piece of each of that program and share that with people so that they could have some takeaways from that week of spending time with us.
And Andre, I guess I'll ask you, what's the Multiple Loves Method? Tell me about that.
Well, it's different components that are put together that help to kind of navigate the journey through the lifestyle, or into the lifestyle rather, to be, and I know people take exception with the word lifestyle. Some people hate it.
Surprised you use that word.
But it is a sort of lifestyle, right? It's a way of living your life. Right? So it's going to kind of look at where we might have some blocks, right, towards, let's say, something like jealousy. But it starts earlier than that. It starts with the information part, right, where we are going to be looking at ourselves and looking at where we're going. So we want to be able to look at our attachment styles. We want to look at our identities. We want to look at our sexual hang-ups, where we feel liberated, where we feel secure, all of that. And then we want to know, well, where are we going? What is this going to look like? The place that we say we want to get to, right? So we want to be able to have, be able to employ a certain vernacular too. We want to be able to express ourselves and find out when I say love, it means such and thing. And when you say love, what does it mean to you? We want to be able to create dialogues and comfort and being able to have that, because that's going to inform us. Once we have that discovery, then we're going to be able to make those transitions and find out where we're needing to address certain issues, right? Like jealousy, like security issues, things of that nature. And this is going to be, I'll bring us down there. You want to jump in? You have.
I was just going to say, like, that's all part of it, but it's a 5-month group program. So basically you work with us over that time period. We take you through that 6-stage journey step by step. So you can go through from what you're saying, like what you were talking about, from like discovering what it is you want, understanding what you need, and getting all the way to feeling, what do we say? Sexy, secure, satisfied.
Nice.
So you have your own like roadmap and blueprint and agreements, and we go through communication. So it's a combination of like some teaching with us, activities. So similar to what we did in a one-on-one situation, but as a group. So you have the benefit of also having that group experience as well.
It's comprehensive. There's a lot in there, but it's all fun. And it's all doable, and it will improve the quality of your relationships, right? So it'll be the quality of your, the quality of your relationship with your friends and lovers and families and community, and with yourself.
Yeah, so some of the stuff we did together, like limiting beliefs and all that, is also part of it, because that's what's really underlying all the things. So
It very often is. Who is a good candidate to sign up for the multiple loves method? I mean, is it just everybody and anybody? Is it specifically people who are struggling with certain things in their relationships? Is it more for newbies just barely opening up their relationship? Is this more for veterans? Who's this targeted for?
That's a fantastic question. So I'll answer it by the end. Newbies and veterans. So newbies, they may need to know a lot of what's going on. They may want to find out, I didn't know this, I didn't know that. I have a lot of questions, as we all were young and green at one point. And even vets, we stumble or we create or we participate in certain patterns sometimes, and we find it difficult to get out of them. So let's look at how we can do that. We do something, from trying to look at different tantric to sensei, to looking at how we might reinvent ourselves, find pleasure again. So there's a lot that we can get from both of those, right?
Yeah, when we put it together, we wanted something that was good for both groups. And I think sometimes when people get involved in opening up a relationship or considering polyamory, there's some steps that they miss in that.
Sure.
Or they get a bit stuck in a spot, or they've, we hear a lot from people coming into the group. So lots of that feedback when people are entering the group and sharing the answers to their questions, we sort of put into this, because people will get in a situation where they decided a certain way. For example, they wanted their relationship to be at the start, and they want to change that and then don't know how to get to the next level. Like people who started swinging, for example, maybe a couple, and then they want to move towards being polyamorous, but don't really know how to do that because it comes with different considerations.
Sure. Perfect. All right. Well, I love it. Last thing I want to ask you guys is, first of all, where can people find out more about you, especially for our listening audience? We're going to have plenty of people downloading the podcast. So where can people find out more about you to sign up for the Multiple Loves Method and, tune in with you guys every Monday at 11?
Okay. Well, our best thing to do and most comprehensive is our website, which is all the W's, and it's taraandandre.com. So TARAANDANDRE. There's a lot of A's in there. taraandandre.com. And so there's information in there on how to join our free online Facebook group, Let's Talk Poly. It also has information on how to book a call with us, similar to the one we had, where they can chat about like what it is they want to do, and we can have that chat with them. And then there's information about events and happenings, and like our free challenges, and about our program.
And follow us on Insta.
Yes, Insta.
And that's at Tara and Andre as well.
Yeah.
TNA.
Yeah, perfect. Last question. Is there anything that I missed? Is there anything that you wish that I would have asked, or some final thoughts that you'd like to leave with our audience today?
You asked such great questions,
You sure
James.
Thank you.
Keep asking questions. Say everything, right? Communication. So many people, when they go into swinging, polyamory, whatever you want to call it, they think it's primarily about the sex. And as we've come to find out very quickly, it's not just about the sex. It's about relationships, but through communication. So be as honest as you can, be ethically open, and talk about these things, talk about your feelings, ask the other person, consent, respect, and love always.
And just also that you're not alone. We're here. There's lots of people here. Yeah. There's awesome communities out there of people. And it's just all about the love.
All about the love.
100%.
Oh, you're right. And when you're right, you're right. And you're always right.
Always right. All right, Tara and Andre, thank you again so much for spending some of your day with me. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I really appreciate both of you so much.
Oh, thanks, James.
James, we love you.
You're amazing.
Great. Yeah.
Thank you. And thank you, as always, to our live audience for tuning in today. As a reminder, when we're live, you get no commercial interruptions, but the same can't be said for the podcast downloads. So if you want to avoid the interruptions, be sure to catch us live Monday through Wednesday, 2:30 Pacific time, or sign up for our Patreon, where you'll get access to our commercial-free RSS feed and support the show. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube, wherever it is that you download your podcast if you haven't already, and please leave us a review. We'll really appreciate it. That is all we've got for you all today. Thank you again to our awesome guests, and until next time, as always,
have a nice day.
Thank you for tuning in to the Practicing Polyamory podcast. Would you or someone in your polycule like to be a guest? Sign up at practicingpolyamory.com and join the conversation. Please support us by subscribing, liking, and following us on social media at Practicing Polya by clicking any of the affiliate links on our website or by subscribing at patreon.com/practicingpolya.